Yo, up everybody, what up, on, let me go just full screen here. This is a live breakdown of this book, and let's see here, let me hide these. I'm about to go live on Instagram as well. So give me 1 second as I get to this. Hope your day is going well. Let's see here. I gotta go to Instagram. Give me 1 second, YouTube. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I've been pretty good this week. I'm gonna say live reaction. Audience will be public. Next. Here. Let's copy this. Here. I'm gonna pop out. Make sure you guys let me know if everything is sounding good, sounding okay on your end. Shoot. Go here. See that I got my audio mixer sources. Oh, I do not have an audio for this one. Okay. I should be good to go. With all of my mics. Yo, 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 yo. Hopefully you don't have crazy feedback. Hopefully I don't have crazy feedback. Let me know if I do. Public. Rick Rubins creative live reaction of creative ads. Oh, give me 1 second, guys, over on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm not doing much right now because I am trying to figure out the YouTube or the Instagram here. So give me a second. I shouldn't have went live. You know, it's weird. I'm trying to get used to going live on YouTube, but for some reason the OBS, just like the moment you start going live, like it just goes live automatically on YouTube. It doesn't even like allow you to push it on the website. Like Instagram, you can hit go live, but this one for some reason is just being weird. I gotta stop this stream. It's just for some reason not connecting to the actual stream itself, so bear with me here. Bear with me. Just trying to get this right. Okay, boom. Should pop up shortly. Today's Friday, June 28th, and having a whole bunch of fun here. Let's do the front end. There we go, there we go. Having a whole bunch of fun here. Let's do the front end. There we go, there we go. All right, I'm gonna turn that off. And then I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna go live on Instagram. Okay, we should be good to go. Everything's rocking. Everything's rocking out. I'm gonna put up a few family photos. Some stuff that I've edited. What up, everybody? Good morning, good morning. Happy Friday. So today I wanted to, I'm over live on YouTube as well, so if it's like lagging out, you guys go check it over there. But today, normally, let me try to get myself positioned here so you can hear me good. But normally I would record a lot of these reactions to The Creative Act, The Way of Being by Rick Rubin. I would record them on my camera. Like I would just like set up a camera and I'd record it. And throughout like the last month, I basically been going on my YouTube. You could go to our YouTube and check out all these things. I'll put it up here actually for you people over on Instagram. There's not that many views. There's not that many views, but that's not the point of why I'm doing them. It was more or less for, I wanted to. I think they're under all the playlist of my journal. Let's see my journal here.
I am terribly unorganized.
I don't want to play that. I wonder if you could just see the playlist. There we go. So under the playlist, my journal, I have a bunch of just long conversations, on our YouTube. A lot of the stuff that I try to share. I was for a while there making a lot of content that was based on, only filmmaking, like creative tips on like how to be better at the technical side of filmmaking. And through the years, if you have followed me along the years, I appreciate it. Through the years, one of the other sides of me that a lot of people don't necessarily get to see is just a conversation about perspective on like your journey and perspective on where you're at in your life and how to perceive the things that are happening to you, how to think about the things that's happening to you, and then also just like listening to yourself and learning how to tap into that side of you as a creator, as an artist, that helps you push through a lot of the harder parts of your life, which is like the stuff we don't often share, the personal side of ourselves. And so, on our YouTube, this my journal thing was something that I don't want to play these. My journaling. I didn't mean to play that. I'm sorry. Hold on. View full playlist. There we go. I just want to show you that I've been journaling about this book, the Creative Act, Rick Rubin, over the last month. Basically, you could see a bunch of videos, and each time I'm just like talking about certain chapters in the book. So, the things that I'm finding, I pick out the things that I'm finding that help me the most, and I'm then sharing my thoughts on like how it's currently affecting me. So right now, with this being, I'm at the very end of the book. I'm at 371 on today's chapter, and then I read to about 390. Actually, I read to 394, and there's only about 10 more pages left. So I want to do these last two kind of reactions that I'm journaling, and I'm recording this on YouTube as well, so you could come watch it back later if you have to jump. So, anything that you guys want to ask, would love to see, your comments and stuff like that. So on Instagram, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull up Instagram on my other window so I could see you guys if you guys have any question. What up, Randall? So I'm just gonna have it here for you guys on Instagram so I could kind of see your responses, and then you know what I'll do on OBS. I'll do this as well. Give me 1 second, guys. On OBS, I'll adjust my YouTube so you could kind of see. Oh, you're going to be able to see the questions. On YouTube, I'll just direct that there's a question from Instagram, and then I'll answer the question. So if I'm ever talking, it's probably coming from the Instagram side. Not too many people tune into our YouTube live, which is interesting. I don't really know how to get that to change, but I'm just gonna keep going live until people start being a part of it. Randall, you said Randall Garcia on Instagram said, "Yeah, bro, I went ahead and ordered mine a couple days ago." I think it's a really cool book. I think it's one thing that like I'll have to. I've been highlighting and marking throughout mine, and the thing that I've been loving so much about the book is that it just keeps pushing me through creative blocks, creative stumps. So if you haven't heard of it, it's super easy to read along. The chapter that I'm gonna talk about today is called Cooperation, and it's literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages long. That's a 6-page chapter. This is like one of the longer ones too, the longer chapters, I should say. So that should give you an idea of like how easy it is to read. And I'm gonna kind of read verbatimly some things, and then I'm gonna stop and give my thoughts on it. So for you guys that are not familiar with the book or familiar with these readings here, I want you to go ahead and just kind of be patient with the way that I react to the book, because it's me reading it and then I get connected to an idea of what is going on in my personal life or creative life, and then I share those thoughts. So I'm going to paraphrase some things and get to the next page, but cooperation essentially is a chapter about working with others. So he starts on the bottom page of 371. It says, cooperation is comparable to the way a jazz ensemble improvises. A handful of collaborators, each with their own original point of view, work together to create a whole new acting and reacting intuitively in the moment. You can lead the play or allow yourself to be led, enjoying the surprise of the unexpected. You can solo or lay out completely as best serves the work. Each time we cooperate, we're exposed to different ways of working and problem solving, which can inform our creative process going forward. Cooperation is not to be mistaken for competition. It is not a power struggle to get your way or to be proven right. Competition serves the ego. Cooperation supports the highest outcome. So, pausing for a moment, I think this is really cool for you guys out there that are working in team environments or are maybe new to working to team environments, and understanding that this is something that either you've already experienced in some form or fashion, or you're going to experience at some point in your career working with others, knowing what it's like to work with others, and understanding whether or not you are listening to an ego side of yourself. Like, you will experience the ego so much more in a collaboration process. So it's being aware that the ego is starting to appear its head, and how do you control that, and how do you learn to then let it go? So again, this chapter is really focused heavily on that idea of working in groups. So think of cooperation as giving or getting a boost to see over a high wall. There's no power struggle in this act. You are simply finding the best route to a new perspective. It is a disservice to the project to weigh our contribution to it. Believing an idea is best because it's ours is an error of inexperience. The ego demands personal authorship, inflating itself at the expense of the art. It can reject new methods that appear counterintuitive and protect familiar ones. The best results are found when we're impartial and detached from our own strategies. We all benefit when the best idea is chosen, regardless of whether or not it's our idea. So one thing that I always feel when I read Rick's writing is the balance of understanding what I believe is true for me, and then what he's trying to suggest from his experience, his great experience that he's had, and trying to get you to understand his words. And it's the way that he communicates, the way that he's trying to communicate you to just pull down sides of you or open up sides of you that were never there. I think when he says stuff like believing an idea is best because it's ours is an error of inexperience, I think there's I definitely see that there's a perspective of two sides. I think you should understand that you don't probably have the best idea, and it's okay to admit it in peer groups. I'll say when I don't understand something to its fullest, or I'll say when I don't really get, I don't have the best opinion. I could say I don't have the greatest ideas, but this is my idea, and I could say I understand that. At the same time, there are moments where you feel an idea that you have is so clear, you're trying to explain it to somebody, and maybe the way that you're communicating is not best for them, so it's going over their head or something, but you still believe your idea is great. There's a couple of things that he later mentions, which is something I've done before, that you try to avoid doing when you're in that scenario. Just because he's saying, I don't like that he just leads it to the idea of believing an idea is best because it's ours is an error of inexperience. I don't like him making you feel like if you have a great idea, it's not the best one. I think that's your faith and belief of whether or not your idea is actually good. And most ideas can be really great if you just figure out a way to communicate it in the way you're seeing it in your head. But I do agree with the idea that you shouldn't be open-minded. You shouldn't be closed-minded to other people's opinions. You should hear them out, and you should think whether or not it works for you or it's working for where you're trying to push the project. If it's your project and you're listening to others, then and you brought people in that you trust to work with you, you should be open-minded enough to listen to them and hear them out. Sometimes our ideas are really great, and other times they cannot work for you. So he leads it into saying that later, but sometimes you got to be careful a little bit when you're reading the book to finding what means and be self-aware of what is true for you. So he goes on and says, when he works with artists, he makes an agreement with them. He says, we continue the process until we reach the point where we're all happy with the work. This is the ultimate goal of cooperation. If one person loves it, but another does not, there's usually an underlying issue worth paying attention to. It likely means we haven't gone far enough and the work hasn't reached its full potential. And I'll stop there because I think this is an amazing line. If one person loves it, but the other one does not, there's usually an underlying issue worth paying attention to. It likely means we haven't gone far enough and the work hasn't reached its full potential. So it makes me think about when someone hires me to have these conversations with them and say, hey, I'm going to be open-minded to like whatever we do, but I want to be on the same page. If I want to let you know that I don't love it. And if you don't love it, I want you to let me know. And I want to figure it out. You know, I want to work until we figure this out. And we shouldn't stop until we figure that out. Deadlines are one of those things that like keep us from figuring it out. Usually with like commercial work, you have a end date and you got to push through until it's done. So then a lot of times somebody like gives in, somebody's going to give in to, I love it because of a deadline. And he goes on and talks about this. So again, I love the idea of saying when you work with someone new to say, let's not stop putting the work in to figure it out until we both love it. And respectfully agreeing to it. If I love your work, you love my work, then we should find a place where we love the work we're creating together, not one or the other. And that goes for me when I think about works that I've done in the past where I really love something and I push it on them to where they agree with it over time versus me being open-minded to say, hey, okay, I get that you don't like it. Let's keep figuring out what don't you like about it. And over time, I've learned to get to that part of me to say, okay, cool. Like, you don't like something? Great. Let's figure it out. Like, what do you want to do? Let's reshoot something, or I would love to go on an edit with you, or let's open up the project together and go bit by bit and try to figure it out, you know? And then while editing it, I have found myself at times saying and giving in to them because I just wanted to get it over with, you know? So there's those moments that happen to me too, which are not good things, right? And he mentions that later in the book. He says, if one collaborator likes choice A and prefers choice B, so again, if one collaborator likes choice A and another performs choice B, then the solution is not to choose A or B, it's to keep working until choice C is developed by both artists. It's to keep working until a choice C is developed that both artists feel is superior. Choice C may incorporate elements of A choice C may incorporate elements of A, of B, of both, or of neither. The moment one collaborator gives in and settles on a less preferential option for the sake of moving forward, everyone loses. Great decisions aren't made in spite of sacrifice. They are made by mutual recognition of the best solution available. If you already like the work in its current form, okay, so I'll stop before I say that one. This is what I just said. Like, there are times where I'll give in just because I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let you have it. And that's something that I got to work on myself through as an artist to say no and fight for the thing I really do believe in, or like try to communicate to them that, hey, I get what you want, but I don't think we found it just yet. There's something about this that doesn't look right. The taste isn't there. We're losing the structure of the build or the edit. We're losing the energy and the emotion of it because of the lighting, because of the framing, because of the quality of what we're trying to sacrifice for. You know, it just doesn't have the same feeling as the rest of the video. Or and communicate and tell them why it's not working from your end. So let's find another shot, or let's find another moment that could work, versus just saying, okay, cool, you could do it. So I've had that part, and in the moment when I'm making that decision, sometimes I'm saying, this is where my ego is like dropping, and I'm saying, my ego is like saying, don't do it. Don't allow yourself to have such a big head or think you have all the answers. That's when I sacrifice, or when I'm giving in, because I'm thinking, okay, maybe you don't know what is the best for this, and they do, and they're having an intuition to say, I want to go this direction. So I just say, okay, cool, let's do it, and I don't want to. I just trust them. So there's that side of it too, where sometimes I'm just trusting them that they're making the decision versus giving in. So there is a balance. Sometimes I give in, other times I'm trusting, even though I feel like maybe it's not there. But to his point, if I have that little bit of feeling of, okay, I don't think this is right, but they keep fighting me, then it's like, okay, let me try to figure out a way to communicate to them. Okay, I want to get what you want. I want to get in the direction that you are searching for, but I don't think we've got it just yet. Is there something else, IKWNE, I don't know what that even stands for, says, when do you do these live reactions? This is the first time I've done a live reaction to the book. Well, I did one other one, and it was just like random, but I don't have a schedule for a lot of the stuff that I do, so it's probably a reason why a lot of people don't join in, because I just like do it whenever. But today's like, I'm going to do one more of these. I'll probably do it maybe Sunday, because I have one more chapter to get through, or I have like 10 more pages, and then I'm done with this book. So, but I have all these reactions to the book on our YouTube, and you could see it here. Right here, it's the Real Goats YouTube. It's under the category My Journal, and I have a bunch of these reactions to them, so you'll see them all there. Okay, so the last thing I was moving on, I wanted to say, if you already like the work in its current form, there's nothing to be lost by trying it better until everyone loves it. You're not compromising. You are working together to surpass the current iteration. And that's something that maybe we could word it like that. That is something that, like, maybe I could form it in that way, where I'm saying, hey, if you like this version, great, let's save it, but let's try to find a new version of it. And this is honestly what I do with my editing. If you look at my editing sequences and how I save them nowadays, even for myself, when I'm editing and I get a pass and I'm like, all of a sudden I have a new idea that maybe I have a feeling it's going to just change completely the entire sequence, maybe in beginning or end, I will duplicate my sequence and then try to go that direction with the edit and see what happens. And then all of a sudden, maybe the edit is better because I'm allowing myself to make a decision that feels a little bit strange, but I'm just going for it. And it's the same thing here. It's saving a whatever direction you're going on your file. Let's say you're messing with a photo, you're doing an edit, you're trying something with a beat as a producer, you're trying something as an artist with your lyrics, saving versions and then duplicating that sequence and then trying something else is searching for something that's going to surpass it. He says, we might not create equally with every partner. There can be incredibly talented people joining forces, yet for whatever reason, they don't resonate with each other. Or perhaps a participant doesn't work in the spirit of cooperation and instead sets a tone of competition and persuasion. If you never see eye to eye with a collaborator and after many iterations of work can't arrive at something special, it might not be the right match. At the same time, there may also be a misalignment if you always see eye to eye with them. We're not looking for someone who thinks like us, works like us, and shares our taste. If you and a collaborator agree on everything, then one of you may be unnecessary. That's an amazing point, because like I definitely I don't know. I mean, like I feel like I choose the people I work with pretty wisely. And then there are times where I've chosen someone to work with and I regretted working with them. Not regret. I shouldn't say regret. I say, okay, I'm not going to work with them again because I just don't enjoy the process. I think that it's one-sided, or, I'm thinking that it doesn't feel right, something like that. So, I definitely think at the same time, I don't want a bunch of yes men either. I want people to push my perspective and what I'm doing and help me get to a better version. I don't want to know everything. Like, I think that's a horrible way to grow something. And I want someone that's better than me to work with me. At the same time, I want them to see me as a collaborator and not someone that they believe is a competition either. So, yeah, man, I agree with those. I'll skip forward. He says, healthy tension in a collaboration is not uncommon. Friction allows fire to come. As long as we're not attached to it having be our way, we welcome this friction. It's bringing us closer to the best version of the work at hand. Some collaborations operate more like dictatorships than democracies. This system can work as well. In these cases, everyone agrees to line up behind one person's vision and do all they can to manifest it. Again, I'll say this again. In these cases, everyone agrees to line up behind one person's vision and do all they can to manifest it. Whether the final decision is made by a single leader or a collective, it is still a collaborative art. The participants are offering up their best work in their spirit of cooperation. I think that word dictatorship is so evil to say. So I don't like the fact that he's saying that. I think I get like it's one person's vision at that point. But in the end, even if the person, like myself, I have a strong vision of what I see and what I want. And sometimes I'm going against it, my own vision to help others, right? I'm going against my own vision to help others. And at some point, I've learned that when I go against that, what up Tea Leaf, what up behind the scenes, Carolina's on YouTube, what up Randall, appreciate you guys tuning in. When I go against it, over time that burns you out, right? And so sometimes it's okay. It is okay to find your strong vision and voice and what you want, and to claim it and to say, this is what I want. I want it to be this direction, I want this direction because I see it and I'm passionate about it. And you know what? Oftentimes I'm allowing the collaboration to happen, but at this point I need this to be the decision that I'm making. I want you to trust me in that decision. And please understand my perspective. I was talking to a friend yesterday about relationships are all perspective. If you can't see my perspective, or I can't see your perspective, then it's not a working relationship. We're not on the same page. We're disconnected. And that's okay to happen. It happens, and it will happen a lot. And then he says, friction is healthy in growing something. At the same time, we can decide whether or not we want to endure that negative feeling that comes onto us. If it's that negativity is coming into us and we feel that it's better to just let time heal, then you let time heal, and that's okay. It's better to let time heal than to say something that you don't really mean or don't understand what you're saying is very hurtful to another person, because you could be saying something out of spite or just because you don't know how to control your words in the moment of being frustrated. There are things where people say stuff like emotions, like you should avoid emotions, and you should avoid, like, emotions are not in business, which I think is bullshit. You're human. You're going to have emotional reactions to the things that happen to you. when they say business is business, okay, if business is business and that's how you see it, then it means you're disregarding how I feel. And if I feel like I don't like you and I feel I can't trust you, then I'm not going to work with you. How is that not letting business be business? That's emotional reaction to things, right? I can't control the fact that I'm trying my hardest when it comes to things like that to control my feelings and emotions on a daily basis, to stay calm as much as I possibly can. But human beings, we give in. We naturally want to emote something, you know. Randall G over on YouTube says, a couple weeks ago you talked about the self-awareness chapter and how your ego plays into it. Would you say this ties into that? I think ego is 100% of what, like, even the conversation I was having with my buddy. Ego is 100% a reason why we get frustrated, why we want to have our vision over another person's vision, or we're not connecting or we're not willing to turn something down. And I was saying to the guy that, hey, you know what? And if you really truly feel a certain way and you don't feel sorry, empathy is the word. If you see their perspective, but you believe that yours is true for you and you don't feel sorry for it, or you can't see their vision, or you don't believe in it and you're the decision maker, it's okay to go with your decision, right? You've tried to hear them out. You understand that this is not what you want. It's okay to go with your decision, right? I don't see the wrong in that. I don't see the wrong in that. I think ego in the end is going to create reasons why you don't want to talk to somebody, why you like decide to avoid another person. And even the silent treatment can be seen as a form of manipulation of some sort, you know? So collaboration is really hard. If everybody's ego is high, like, of course you're going to have a bigger ego if you've been successful. You're going to have a bigger ego if you haven't been teaching yourself about self-awareness, you know? He goes on to say, communication is the core of skillful cooperation. When giving feedback, don't make it personal. Always comment on the work itself and not the individual who made it. If a participant takes a critique personally, they tend to shut down. Be as specific as possible with your feedback. Zoom in to discuss the details of what you're seeing and feeling. The more clinical the feedback, the better it will be received. Saying, I think the colors in these two areas don't interact well together is more helpful than I don't like the colors. Though you may have a specific fix in mind, hold back from sharing it immediately. The recipient may be able to come up with a better solution on their own. When on the receiving end of feedback, our task is to set aside ego and to work to fully understand the critique offered. When one participant suggests a specific detail that could be improved, we might mistakenly think that the entire work is being called into question. Our ego can perceive assistance as interference. It's just like, some of the stuff is kind of funny to me. I laugh because it's just like, I feel and I see certain moments that are like, okay, you're critiquing my work now. Okay, so the whole thing shit, or everything I've been doing is shit. It's like, no, it's not what I'm saying. I've never said that you were bad at something. I never said you weren't doing anything. I'm saying this is what I want to fix. Like, you know, it's sometimes it's hard, And that's where the patience comes into play. And I know that I can be maybe, I feel as if I communicate well, but I know that I could always improve on everything. I could have more patience. I could have more calmness. I could have more like foresight to say, okay, maybe this conversation should be between 1 and 2 versus 1 and 4 or 1 and 6, like people around. Whenever you're giving critiques around a group of people, more than likely they're probably gonna be way more like sensitive to their ego. I shouldn't say sensitive. They're gonna be more close to the ego in group settings because they may feel like you're trying to belittle them or something in front of others, which is not a good thing. No one wants to have bad feedback in front of a bunch of people. So I get that. And that's where we could probably be better at communication, having one-on-ones versus one-on whatever, group dynamics. Dorsey, you say, let's say you change your brand, and how can you show people the new you? Show them your improvement. Honestly, the only thing you could really do, in my opinion, whenever you're trying to rebrand yourself is just like do the work, find new clients. Don't show old people. Like the old people are going to come around and come back to work with you if you just work with new people and show them the new work. You can't change someone's mind if they already perceive you a certain way. If I know you were this way in the past, I'm probably always going to feel that way about you. And the only way to change it is by physically talking to you and then you proving it through the work. So you just got to pick up new clients, put out new work, and then they'll see like, oh shit, like this person's actually like they're doing something. They're changing their style. They're saying they're doing what they're doing. So that's what you need to do. Just put out new work. So he goes on to say, it helps to keep in mind the language that language is an imperfect means of communication. An idea is altered and diluted through its mistranslation into words. Those words are then further distorted through our filter as we take them in, leaving us in a world of ambiguity. I'm saying that. I'm butchering that. I'm sorry. It requires patience and diligence to the past story of what you think you're hearing. It requires patience and diligence to get past the story of what you think you're hearing and get close to understanding what's actually being said. Again, it requires patience and diligence to get past the story of what you think you're hearing and get close to the understanding of what's being said. When receiving feedback, a useful practice is to repeat the information back. You may find that what you heard isn't what was said, and what was said may not even be what was actually meant. So ask questions to gain clarity. When collaborators patiently explain what aspects of the work they're focusing on, we may recognize that our visions are not in opposition. We are just using different language and noticing different elements. When sharing observations specifically creates space. It dissipates the level of emotional charge and it enables us to work together in a service. It enables us to work in the service of the peace. The things that I think these are the last words he says. So in my opinion, the idea of patience and diligence to see what they're to really hear what they're saying is important. Having that patience to really see it, and even if that means to sit on that and not reply right away. When receiving feedback, I think that the idea of like repeat back to them what you just heard and to see if that's what they're saying is a good idea too. I feel like if we hear something, we're like, hey, is this what you meant? Okay, so let me just be on the same page as you. This is what you're saying you want to change. And you repeat back what they said as much as you can. Verbatimly, you probably won't be able to verbatimly like repeat back, but if you could try to get close, then Then see if they say, "Oh no, that's not what I meant," and then they'll repeat it again. That's a good tip. I feel like I haven't used that enough to understand why, or to question why someone wants it a certain way. Again, I think collaboration, because I've been in that world of building with friends, building with family, has been such a unique and different space for me than building with people I don't know. When you build with family and friends, it's much more difficult to build with them because they are family and friends, and that is a given when it comes to your trust, because you believe and love and know a version of them as a family or friend, and you want that to be maintained. And I stand true by that. Like, that's fine if I decide that I want to build a family and friend and I know it's going to be hard, then I've made that decision as a person to build with them. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it not maybe going as far as I wish it could go, or I'm okay with it. I'm okay with literally saying, let's stop doing this together because it's not worth ruining our relationship. I don't want to ruin my relationship with a friend or a family. Like, I never would want that. No goal to me, no height, no success is worth losing your family over, or your friends. And in the past, I've lost friends. In the past, I've lost family in regards to maybe my connection to them, in regards to maybe like how we get along, or how we used to be close and now we're not close, because I decided that I would rather put more effort into my work and versus them. And you think it's worth it in the moment. When you're young, you think it's worth it. And as you get older, you're like, no, it's like, not really. It's not really that worth it. It isn't worth it. I don't even say it's not really. It isn't worth it. You could have found a way, like, that's the thing. You could have found a way to maintain the relationship and do what you wanted to do by working at it, and trying to act him. Here. One second. Man froze up. So you're trying to here at all. Once you begin to fix to you, man. That thank you. Hang up. See. Okay, I'm still signal like lagging. What up, 12 mic? What up, comment up. His world is in here. 34 on YouTube. To be going to make an Aberration album with Offset. Great question for debate. I have no idea. I wouldn't know. You should go on this page and ask. That would be cool. I think they sound great together. Offset and him are, honestly, anybody that Baby collaborates with, he brings the best out of. So that would be a cool collaboration. He's very good at bouncing back and forth and bringing energy to people. So whoever the Baby collaborates with, he's always going to bring out the best in them because he works hard. So, all right. I don't know why. But I'm close to the end of this book. I appreciate you guys tuning into this reaction for that. That was the cooperation chapter out of the book from Rick Rubin. Again, I think if you take anything away with about this conversation today, it's you got to have a lot of patience and you gotta try to communicate as best as you can, no matter what way you're finding yourself to do that. Whether it's you need space and time to heal so that you can then talk to them better, it's letting them know that you need that space, and that you gotta find yourself. If it's something where in the process of working with someone on a regular basis, that's something that I've done with the baby. That's something I've done with my brothers and Shaq, my sister. That's something that I've done with other real goats like Nick Mays, Brian Garcia, Mikey Borger, Chris Roush, Young Chang, Space, 305 out of Miami. I'm trying to think of other people that I work with on a consistent basis. Pablo Lopez, he's a gaffer out of New York. Logan Mize, Acer Santos, Chris Pinto. I don't want to leave anybody out that I work with that I work with more on a regular basis. There are other really great people that I work with that I'm not mentioning. August, this dude named Rodney out of New York. Just a bunch of people over the years that I've worked with at one point in time for many projects at a time in a year, and I don't think any of them have ever. I think any of them have ever made me feel that I'm not being heard. I think that there are times where there is friction in our work. I think there is friction in the work every now and again, and that's when I'm like trying to check myself and like, am I wrong? Am I in the wrong? Are they in the right? And I'm hoping they're doing the same, and I trust and love and them enough to believe that they have me on their mind when it comes to their decision making as well, and that they love me for who I am, and know that I can be a stubborn son of a bitch. At the same time, I'm also very forgiving, and I do as much as I can for others, and I care much for all these people. So yeah, man, collaboration, filmmaking, it's the thing that you got to do in film. So working with other people, you can't get away from it. You said, Dorsey Wesley, I got accepted to SCAD in Atlanta, bro. Any advice? Bachelor in film and TV. Dorsey, the number one thing to understand about film is that you don't need to go to school for it. It's amazing you got accepted into it. I think you need to pay attention to theory if you're going to go there. Really accept that the work that they're going to teach you, they're not going to tell you everything, that you got to put the work in regardless of whatever they teach you there. They're probably going to teach you tons of theory-based things, which fall in love with that and know that that's all theory. It's all like perspective of what people have believed in film and what makes film. So take it with a grain of salt. Know that that those things that they're teaching are real, but you can break those rules, right? They're teaching you rules, and then you can break them. You will not be able to do much with that knowledge if you don't practice, though. Getting on sets, being in Atlanta, you should really take advantage of the fact that there's such a huge music video scene there, such a big like filmmaking scene there. So connect with people, be kind, put yourself out there, mess up a bunch, write. Anybody that's watching, write like crazy. Really make sure that you spend time writing as a filmmaker. I'm now 40, and I wish I would have been writing way more scripts along the way, but I never gave myself time to do that. I always just like felt like, okay, I'm putting all this work. I'm gonna do a bunch of music videos, come up with all these ideas, and then my off time, I'm gonna be searching for work. So being too obsessed with finding jobs, being too obsessed with like getting a bunch of music videos, right? Has kept me over the years from writing my script. And so now I'm writing my script. Like I said, I can't do music videos this year. I've done as many as I could. so far, and I don't believe that I will do direct anymore. I love music videos, but they're not what I'm supposed to be doing. So, writing my film, and once I get done writing my film and I'll have my first draft and corrected a bunch, my goal is to make that motherfucker. So, I'm gonna be collaborating like hell, but this is what's so great about his book. Again, if you haven't seen it, if you're just now joining, check it out. I'm ending this live, but it was The Creative Act Away Being by Rick Rubin. Appreciate you guys tuning in. So much love to you guys. Peace.